Yo, I'm honestly tired. This is my sixth time making this. Yes, six because messed up the first three. Fourth time got interrupted. Fifth time had to stop because I had to wash some steaks, and this is the sixth. Yeah. So hopefully nothing interrupts me this time, and we can actually do this. By the way, before I even start, I want to let you know that the reason I haven't been posting is because I was kind of sick with a cold. That's well, not really my fault, but I did something stupid. Yeah, I was overtraining. Yeah, I do martial arts. So I overtrained and, you know, I was starting to feel real cold. Like just real cold. Because normally I do not feel cold at all. Like cold, hot. That doesn't bother me, right? But I was just getting real cold for no reason. To the point where I had to go get one of my heaters. And I had to have it blowing directly at me for me to cool down. But, feeling way better now. And me and Zoen are doing a challenge of sorts. Anybody is able to, if you're able to join, go ahead. See, the basis around it is, what if Naruto was the reincarnation of blank, right? And the person you have to pick has to be a Dragon Ball character. We're going to do more of these. It's just right now we're starting off with Dragon Ball and Naruto, right? I picked Hit, and knowing him, he's probably going to pick Gohan. Now, the way I'm going to do this is different from the past five because, like I said, the other times I did not make a script for this, like, at all. But it's going to be sort of similar to the fifth one, just a little bit different. So, yeah, with that being said, let's just start. So we start this off at Naruto's birth, and, this is after Minato and Kushina got impaled. When, when Minato was about to touch baby Naruto and implant the Nine Tails into him, Kurama would lift his finger, which would cause Minato to not be able to reach baby Naruto. But then a purple beam would come and it would hit Kurama on top of the head, making Kurama lose strength in his hand, dropping his finger. But then the purple energy would fall onto Naruto and then completely vanish. And Kurama would glance back trying to figure out where it came from, which would give Minato enough time to seal all of Kurama into Naruto this time. Which would be the first difference. Actually, no. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, just half of Kurama. I won't give him full Kurama. Yeah. So that's the first change from the fifth one. Yeah, he's getting half of Kurama. The same half he got in canon. And Minato resealed the other half into himself. And this, Danzo would have seen that purple energy, so he would have made it there just a little bit before Hiruzen did. And he'd look around trying to scout the area for where that purple energy came from. And then he'd look at Naruto, who would look back at him with now red eyes. And then Hiruzen would pick up baby Naruto, and that's when Danzo would just leave. And he'd start looking around in the area for wherever this energy came from. Because his logic, if it could stop the Nine Tails for even a second and cause the Nine Tails to feel pain and, cause it to have to look around for it to keep itself from getting more damage from it, then it must be powerful. So he went around the area, and about a month later, this isn't a time skip, but, about a month later, he'd stop looking for it, But, the rest goes same as canon, except for in this one, Hiruzen, he genuinely be in Naruto's life. Why? Because in this timeline, Kakashi and Jiraiya was just making it back to the village. I'd say, yeah, the month where Danzo stopped looking for the wherever the energy came from, that's when Jiraiya and Kakashi would show up. And when this would happen, they'd look around and they'd see the village kind of, like it's doing better, but it wasn't like as good in shape as it was when they left. So Jiraiya and Kakashi would head straight for the Hokage's office, but they wouldn't see Minato. They'd see Hiruzen staring back at them, and they'd get the full rundown of what happened. And now Jiraiya and Kakashi has custody over Naruto, and Hiruzen occasionally, but more than in Kanon, would be around Naruto. Why? Because Kakashi and Jiraiya be on missions, and with them still being alive, they'd force Hiruzen to watch over Naruto. And in this, Hiruzen would notice that the villagers would try to attack Naruto. This is, I'd say about when he's the age of 4. Hiruzen would notice that the villagers always try to attack Naruto. And so he'd make a decree in the village that if anyone were to hurt Naruto, they'd get tortured and then placed in prison for a year. And then, so after this, nobody would really mess with Naruto. Like, they'd keep their kids away from him, same as Kanon. But in this one, they wouldn't attack, throw insults. Like, they'd keep everything to themselves because they wouldn't want to, get tortured and imprisoned. And so Naruto would grow up being more calm, cool, and collected, being under Kakashi and Jiraiya, along with Hiruzen, who would teach him occasionally. But Jiraiya and Kakashi would teach him water walking, tree walking, chakra control, stuff like that. And occasionally, Jiraiya would teach him things like certain jutsu. Like Jiraiya had taught him. He taught him Gale Palm. He taught him because they figured out his chakra release was wind, and in this one, I'd say he got a special one, which is plasma. So he got wind, water, plasma, and he has the space-time manipulation, just like his father. Right? And so one day we're gonna do a 4-year time skip, since I say he was 4, so yeah, a 4-year time skip. And this is Naruto at the age of 8, and we'd see him walking around the village, heading towards. He'd head towards the ramen shop. Yeah, he'd head towards Ichiraku Ramen. But then all of a sudden, he'd take another step, and he'd be inside a forest. And then he'd see another person there, and this being, Mitsuki. I said Mitsuki. Fuck. What's that nigga name? Damn. And I just made this like, fuck, damn. Mizuki, my bad. I said Mitsuki because it came to mind. But, so Mizuki would be like, you want to play a game? No jigsaw. And Naruto would be like, and what'd be in it for me? And he'd say, well, you won't have to go to the academy if you pass this test. And Naruto kind of being intrigued. He'd say, sure, but how can I be so sure you aren't lying? He'd say, why would I lie about something like this? I mean, I am a teacher at the academy. And Naruto would say, fine, what's your test? And he'd say, don't think of it as a test. Think of it more as a game. The first one who can get the scroll of sealing to this location wins. And if you can beat me, that proves that you're more of a ninja than me, a chunin. And Naruto would say, okay, sounds good. And so, sorry about that. My dogs was barking. But, yeah. So, as soon as Mizuki would say this, Naruto would get suspicious again. He'd think to himself, why does this old man want me to get that scroll? And he'd say, whatever. If it comes down to be a trap, I'll know. And I'm pretty sure I can handle myself against him. I have a few jutsu under my belt, so they should come in handy. And so Naruto would dash off, being way faster than in canon. And so that would also mean that he'd get the scroll back to the location faster, meaning he has more time to learn more jutsu. And since in this one, the Nine Tails isn't messing with his chakra, the reason why he learned jutsu, well, was able to learn jutsu from both Kakashi and Jiraiya, you know. So Naruto would sit down and he'd learn the Shadow Clone Jutsu. He'd see two other jutsu that intrigue him. One being the water bullet, which he was never taught because, so he'd use the shadow clones to work on that. And then there'd be another one, he'd say, from the fourth Hokage, who he knows is his father. And he'd see there's two jutsu from him, but he wouldn't worry about one because it also says that Jiraiya knows it. So he'd focus on the second one, being the Hiraishin or the Flying Raijin, whatever you want to call it. So, or Flying Thunder God, whatever, right? So he'd make more clones to work on that, right? And eventually he'd learn the water bullet jutsu, and right when he started to get the hang of the Flying Raijin, he started to run out of chakra. But then somebody who was waiting for this to happen would jump out of the tree, this being Mizuki. And he'd start laughing. He'd say, Bright, you actually stole the scroll. Now I can take you out. And once I do, everyone will see me as a hero who took down the villain who tried to rob the village. And then I could just book it out of here. Because if I can copy every jutsu in the scroll and then return it before anyone notices that it's gone, I could kill you and get away with it scot-free. And Naruto, who barely has any chakra left, would smirk. He'd say, damn it. I should have surveyed the area more closely. But whatever now. I'll just have to make do with the chakra I have left. And so he'd send the clones that are already out at Mizuki. It was just two clones because the rest of them dispersed due to lack of chakra. So they'd dash at Mizuki, and Mizuki would pull out a demon wind shuriken, and he'd throw it at him, screaming, die! And the shuriken would cleave through the first one, but the second one would catch it and spin going to throw it back. Pause. Throw the shuriken back at Mizuki. But Mizuki would simply jump over it and throw a kunai at the shadow clone, which would cause it to poof. But this would be the perfect distraction for Naruto, who would appear behind him and hit him with a wind palm. I said a wind palm. A gale palm, sorry. And this would send him flying into a tree, but poof into smoke. And Naruto would be like, a clone? But I never seen him. And then he'd look above to see he'd see a demon wind shuriken about to cleave into his head. And he'd think to himself, I'm dead. But right as the shuriken was about to hit him, his body instinctively moved. But it's not like it moved. It's like time stopped. And then he stepped out of the way. And Mizuki, who's fallen, would be defenseless now. And so Naruto would take it, and he'd grab the demon wind shuriken out of the ground, and he'd spin it and then throw it back at him, which would cut across his chest, making him fall. And right as he was about to hit the ground, that's when Kakashi and Jiraiya would show up, and they would apprehend Mizuki, who was about to plant crap explosive tag on Naruto, and Naruto would fall over unconscious, and so Jiraiya would grab the scroll of sealing, and he'd send it by Toad back to Hiruzen, who was watching everything through the crystal ball, and Kakashi would take Naruto to the hospital. Now, Naruto, who's now in his mindscape, would see the Nine Tails. And him knowing how and what happened to his parents, he wouldn't be afraid of the Nine Tails, but he'd want answers. But right when he was about to ask the Nine Tails something, the Nine Tails would say, "I didn't call you. It was him. So don't bother me. It's too early, kid." And then another voice is heard, and he'd say, "It's about time we had us. It's about time we had our first conversation. So come with me, kid." And Naruto would look down, and he'd see Hit, and Hit would say, "Come on." And as he does say that, he'd step out of the gate, as all of a sudden Naruto is now in a clear, open area, feared, feared, filled with trees and flowers on the ground. And Hit would say, "We'll begin with unlocking your key." And Naruto would say, "What is key?" And he'd say, "Well, it's your life energy, but it's different from what you guys call chakra." And Naruto would ask, "What do you mean by different from chakra?" And Hit would look at him and say exactly what I said. See, chakra is limited to certain things, so is ki. But the things that chakra is limited to, ki can do without a problem. See, with chakra, you can't necessarily fly. But with ki, you can fly. But with ki, you cannot control the elements as well as you can with chakra. So, they both have their strengths and weaknesses. So, I want you to keep, working on your chakra. But when you're with me, I'll teach you to control your ki. But first, we have to start by unlocking it. And Naruto would look at him and he'd say, "Then, wouldn't that mean I have two types of energies?" And Hit would say, "Precisely. So when you run out of chakra, obviously not, like if he uses too much chakra and he can't use anymore, or he'd exert his chakra things, which could cause him damage, When he runs out of chakra, he can switch over to using ki, or he can enhance his chakra-related attacks with ki, and reinforce his body with ki to make his attacks harder and faster." And Naruto, listening to this, would kind of smile. He'd say, "Yeah, that sounds like a... Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, unlock my key." And Hit would look at him. He'd say, "But kid, once I do, just know, I'll train you after this. And my training isn't all that easy." And Naruto would look at him and say, "But what training has ever been easy?" And Hit would just smirk at his answer. And after this, we'll do a time skip to about when Naruto's the age of 12, and he's just now joining the academy. And if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure you graduate the academy at age 13. I may be wrong, but hold up, let me go. Sorry about that. Yeah, let's change it a bit, because it says they graduate when they're the age of 12. Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah. So, he goes into the academy at age of 11. Yeah, he goes into the academy at age of 11, where everyone is just now starting. And the difference is, up in this, is Naruto like I said earlier, is more chill and calm. He isn't attention seeking, and he's more intelligent. Like he keeps to himself, and he sort of sits in the back with Shikamaru and Choji, and he isn't bothered, with the girls, and doesn't really care. Doesn't talk much unless to Choji and Shikamaru, but you know, and this would cause him to gain a bit of a fan base. Some of the girls in his class, and one in particular, which would shock a certain someone in the classroom. And the person who I speak of is Ino. She would start to more favor Naruto than Sasuke, because even though Naruto didn't really talk much, just like Sasuke, he was more, he would actually speak to her, and he'd actually, like, let's see, what's the word for it? He would entertain her in a sense of speaking. And I don't mean like, like, basically if she's talking to him, he'd entertain the conversation by continuously speaking with her, even if it's just a few words, So this would cause her to gain a sort of crush on him, which would cause the other girls to kind of get mad at Ino for being close to Naruto. But, they're also kind of mad at Shikamaru and Choji for being that close with Naruto as well. But there isn't much they could do. But this would shock Sakura when one day Ino just randomly said, "You can have Sasuke. I don't want him." And Sakura, she'd be kind of confused, but wouldn't really care. She'd be like, "Well, I guess I have Sasuke to myself now." But then the rest of Sasuke fangirls would, obviously oppose to this. But that didn't really matter to Sasuke and or Naruto, who wouldn't really care. So, we go to the day of the graduate. Well, no, actually, I won't skip that far. We go into about half of the school year, so about 6 months later. Naruto, Shikamaru, and Choji have all gotten a bit closer. And Sasuke and Naruto even have started talking a bit, even going as far as to calling each other comrades. Not friends per se, but comrades. And they would, be seen some sort of sparring with each other. Like, they'd be giving each other info, should I say. Like, Sasuke would sort of help Naruto in aspects that he couldn't, needed to work in, and Naruto would help Sasuke in certain aspects he needed help in. But it wouldn't be nothing more than that. Like, they'd still talk in school, though. Like, they're friendlier to each other than they were in canon as of this point, right? So, but throughout this, Naruto and Ino has been talking more, and they've gone on friendly dates, should I say, right? Like, they'd go out, hang out, have fun. Sometimes Shikamaru and Choji would tag along, but most of the times it's just those two, right? And one day, Naruto would have taken Ino to this festival that he heard about, and they'd be hanging out there. And Naruto would be playing at this one stand, and he'd win this big teddy bear and give it to Ino, since he'd think to himself he didn't really need it. So, he'd give it to Ino, and that's when Ino was like, "All right, I'll do it today." And she'd kind of blush and look at Naruto, and she'd be like, Naruto. And he'd say, "Yeah." And she'd be like, "Will you be my boyfriend?" But when she didn't receive an answer, after 30 seconds of waiting, she'd look, only to see Naruto helping this little kid find their parents. And she'd be kind of mad. She'd be kind of mad at this, but she'd also kind of laugh seeing how hard Naruto is actually putting, like, trying to genuinely help the girl calm down and find their parents. And when he eventually does, the lady would be thankful. Like, this would be one of the people who didn't, like, she had nothing against Naruto because she knew that A, he's a child, and B, he couldn't possibly be the QB. Well, as what they call it, the QB, Nine Tails. So she'd be thankful, she'd pay him even, but Naruto wouldn't accept it. And so she'd offer to pay for his next bowl of ramen. But Naruto was gonna disagree, but then his stomach growled. And so the lady took him over to Ichiraku, which was just down the street. And she paid for his full tab. And Naruto, who didn't want to eat much on the lady's money, he ate 3 bowls. And then when she finally left, then he paid for another 5 bowls of ramen himself. And he even paid for Ino, who had followed him. And after that, they left. And now we're finally going to do the time skip to the final day of the academy. Sorry, my mind just kind of blanked for a quick second there. Dang. It's not cold, it's just kind of, like it's kind of weird, like I said, I don't get cold easily. It's just that when I caught that cold, it messed me all the way up. But, that's getting off topic. So the final day of school finally comes around. Well, the academy finally comes around, and Naruto and Sasuke get matched up again, like usual. And usually their fights go either or. Like on some days, Sasuke would win. Well, that was like towards the beginning of the academy. But then it started going flip-flop to where Sasuke or Naruto would win. And the record, Sasuke had more wins than Naruto up until towards the end of the academy, where Naruto just started repeatedly winning. And he just kept winning. And it broke, and now they're at a stalemate. And this is their tiebreaker. And throughout their fights, they started getting closer. And so they started getting more competitive towards each other, since they both saw each other as rivals. Rivals in strength and power. But, they saw each other as friendly rivals. So they were more friendly towards each other. So Sasuke would look at Naruto and he'd say, you better prepare yourself, because this time I'm going full out. I'm going to use every jutsu and ability I have to my name. And this Sasuke, who I'm going to say the Uchiha clan did not get massacred this time. And this time's event, the Uchiha clan is still alive. Why? Because in this one, Jiraiya is still in the village, and him and Kakashi kept Danzo in check. Sorry about that. So, So Jiraiya and Kakashi keeps Danzo in check. Sorry about that. But, like I said, so Jiraiya, mostly Jiraiya, but Jiraiya and Kakashi would keep Danzo in check. So the Uchiha clan did not get massacred because Jiraiya and Sasuke made I said Jiraiya and Sasuke. Because Jiraiya and, Fugaku came to an agreement along with Hiruzen, and the agreement is, the Uchiha police thing that they made in canon. I said in canon, in that one alternate universe during this. I'm pretty sure it was the Tsukuyomi. I said Tsukuyomi. God damn it. When Madara put everybody under that whatchamacallit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was when it was. But basically the Uchiha police thing. Yeah, that's just made canon up in this story. And so Sasuke would have learned from Fugaku and Itachi more, since, Itachi doesn't have as many missions, because Kakashi, he's not an Anbu, really, but Itachi isn't an Anbu either. But, they still do Anbu type missions together. And since they work together now, they do it in less time than it would take Itachi by himself normally, or Kakashi by himself normally, because Hiruzen made them a pair Like they're a full-time pair, so they always work together, no matter the mission. Give me a second. I honestly forgot what I was on, so I'm gonna just start from where I remember. And that was Jiraiya going to the Uchiha compound and talking to Fugaku about making a deal so that the Uchihas and the village, you know, they wouldn't have a problem. And then Fugaku was like, will be in charge of the, they'd get the police, and that I'm pretty sure they originally had it, but like, and it's gonna be more prominent in the village, like they watching over more crimes and stuff like that. But sorry about that, but yeah, like I said, it's just the only difference really is that the Uchihas are just gonna be more prominent in the village. Like they're gonna be more seen around the village and helping keep order more. So it's not like they're gonna be the same assholes like from that timeline, you know, where Naruto has had to stop them when they tried to break into Kushina house. Like, not like that, but like they have to go to school for it and shit like that, stuff like that, right? Like if they can't make it as normal ninjas, they have to go. Like I'm talking about just specifically Uchihas. If they cannot make it as ninjas, they have to go. Like they're forced to take part in the whatchamacallit. Not all the times. Like if they can find a different normal job, then they don't have to join the police force. Why the hell I say it like that? Excuse my French. But yeah. So yeah, that's another difference. So back to the fight, because that's where I kind of originally left off. When Naruto and Sasuke were about to start their fight, Sasuke would say, "I'm not gonna hold back this time," and he'd activate his one tomoe in his left eye and his two tomoe in his right eye, because you remember how when he was in the fight, yeah, so he has an incomplete 1.5 tomoe. I'm just playing, but he has a 1 and a 2 tomoe, 1 in his left, 1 and 2 in his right. He's eventually gonna get both, but just not right now, right? So Naruto would say, "Then I'll do the same." And during this fight, Naruto isn't wearing the jumpsuit you see. He's wearing the black and white gi, and Naruto would get into a stance. It'd be. Hold up, let me see if I can find the stance. This is the stance he'd get in. He'd be in. He doesn't have renewal taekwondo, but like this is the stance he'd get. And they'd say start, and then as soon as it says start, time would freeze, and Naruto would walk clean up to Sasuke, and then he'd punch him in the hip, in the chin. Sorry about that. That dog just, like I said, we got like, well, you probably didn't hear it because but I got like 7 dogs, and they all over the place. This dog just walked up to me and started barking. So sorry you had to hear that. Might put a warning. It might or may not be loud. I might just cut it out of the video, but that's if I remember. But yeah, let's continue. Move. Sorry about that. Anyways, like I said, he'd punch him in his hip, he'd hit him in the jaw, and then he'd roundhouse kick him, and then he'd go back to his spot. And then all of a sudden, Sasuke would feel those 3 hits. Do, do, do. And he'd fall to the ground. And Sasuke would be kind of confused. Why? Because Naruto has never used time skip ever against Sasuke. And that's because he was forbade to use it until he had enough mastery over it to use it for at least 10 seconds. Why I say he can use it for 10 seconds is because we all know that Hit can use it for longer than 10 seconds. And about time Hit would die, which would probably be a couple centuries, if not a couple millennia. Maybe, because we never know how old this man Hit can live up to, because I don't think we know what race Hit is from, and if we do, I don't know what race he's from, and I don't know how long they live for. So I'd say he'd live into the age of 1,000, and throughout that time, he was able to perfect time skip to where he could just use it frequently without any drawbacks or, like, wouldn't mess up the time. Like, he could just spam use it for as long as he wants to, and then right after, it just go back to being normal, as if nothing had happened. Wouldn't be nothing wrong with the time, because he's freezing the concept of time and everything about it. So, it wouldn't really move anything in that frozen time. And I'm saying he also learned how to make it to where he can, because usually it's just like in the certain area that he has it to. And I'd say for them, I'd say that Naruto can freeze up to the whole area, and I'd say only the Uchiha saw it, like the parents, the Uchihas. I'd say that Itachi, Shisui, Fugaku, and Mikoto had saw the hits. I'd also think that Kakashi with his Sharingan active, who does have it active because these two are pretty fast for their age. I wouldn't say that he needed to have it active, but he wanted to see how much Naruto had progressed, because I'd say that Naruto said to use it, and I'd say that, obviously, of course, Jiraiya can see it. He can spot the 106 from anywhere, so of course Jiraiya can see it. So, yeah, that's, of course he can see it. So, the Uchihas, Kakashi, and Jiraiya would see it, and they'd all be shocked. They'd be like, did he just freeze time? Because they could see, I'd say they're strong enough to move in it. Sort of like Goku overpowered it. I'd say they're stronger than a 12-year-old Naruto's time skip. I'd say they're about that strong. Like, don't get me wrong, he's still strong enough to pack a hit. Like, he get punched. I'd say he'd be able to punch a wall down, like just a whole wall, just knock it down. That's how strong this Naruto is at age 12. And his speed, he's pretty quick. Like, I'd say he's faster than most Chunin. Most. I wouldn't say all, but I'd say most. And the reason why I'd say Sasuke couldn't see it is because he, obviously, I'm pretty sure a 2 and a 1 Tomoe wouldn't be able to see. Maybe. But in this fight, just to make it fair, I'm gonna say, this is a bit of spoiler, but it was gonna happen regardless in this fight. So basically what would happen is Sasuke, after taking those hits, he'd bounce off the ground and he'd say, I don't know what type of trick you used, and I don't know why it hurt so much, but I'm not gonna give up after just that much. And he'd do his hand signs, and he'd say, fire style, fireball jutsu, and he'd blow it straight at Naruto. Like, he'd jump in the air and then shoot the fireball at Naruto. And Naruto, he'd just stand there. And then right at the last second, when it was about to hit him, he'd appear where Sasuke had jumped from. And he'd look up at Sasuke, and he'd jump, but then time would freeze again for the 3rd time in this fight. And Sasuke's Sharingan would start to spin. And Naruto would notice this, so he'd say, I have to end this quick. And he'd hit him twice. Once in the chest, and then hit him in the back of the neck. And Sasuke would hit the ground. And everybody, they'd look, and, Iruka would be like, well, it seems that Sasuke Uchiha has, and then Fugaku would smirk as Sasuke's they'd hear, the noise of the Sharingan being activated. And Sasuke would get up, now having a 2 Tomoe in his left eye and a 3 in his right. And he'd be breathing kind of hard. He'd say, damn, you hit hard as hell. Damn. out of breath. And then he'd look over and he'd say, all right, time to kick this up a notch. And then he'd do a different set of hand signs this time. And he'd spin around in a circle. And he'd say, flame tornado. And then he'd dash at Naruto while spinning consecutively. I'm pretty sure I said that right. I may be wrong, but pretty sure I pronounced it right. And while spinning, he'd pull out a kunai. And Naruto, noticing this, he'd change up his stance just a bit. Like he'd stand up straight. Like after hitting Sasuke, he was standing how he's standing in the photo, so he wasn't in the stance that he was in the beginning of the fight. But this time he switched to more of a boxer-like stance. But since they don't know what this is, Sasuke fangirls was like, he's obviously gonna lose. There's no way he can block this. Because when Sasuke fell, the Sasuke fangirls was, booing. And Naruto fangirls, they was like, suck it. Sakura and Ino, who put money on they fight. Sakura, who thought she had just lost her money, was kind of, getting mad. And she was like, he cheated. But then seeing Sasuke get up with a more evolved Sharingan, she'd be like, Naruto's gonna lose. But yeah, that's just a quick, recap of what the fangirls are up to. But like I said, so right as Sasuke was finna hit Naruto would use a move that he had learned from Hit. And I wouldn't say he used it to its fullest extent, but I'd say that he used it. He made sure to miss every vital in Sasuke's body, but he aimed directly at the point, like to the other side of where the heart is. And you know what he did to Goku? He did that to Sasuke, except for to a less degree. Like he hit him, his chest caved in, and Goku's head stayed caved in until he was, healed by the ki blast. He shot into the air, and then, it resurrected him. But yeah, Goku is a fighting genius. Like people keep forgetting that Goku is just a fighting genius. Like he's just naturally talented at fighting. But yeah, he'd do that to Sasuke, obviously not hitting where his heart is. And this would cause Sasuke to just lock up. Like he'd stop. Like his eyes would go blank and he'd just be frozen there. And then he'd start to fall over and Naruto would catch him. He'd say, you fought well, my friend, but I got the win. This would make our this would cause me the tiebreaker. This would give me the tiebreaker, making our fight score 100-99. I win. And all the Naruto fangirls would be cheering, and Ino would be like, pay me my money. And Naruto getting kind of, he wouldn't be flustered. Like, this was technically his first time being fully praised. Usually they'd praise him over the fight, but like over him winning against Sasuke or stuff like that. But this is Naruto's his true first and only time being fully praised and being acknowledged by not only just the people in the whatchamacallit, but by the Uchihas, by Kakashi and Jiraiya, by Iruka, even by some of Sasuke's fangirls who, low-key just switched up after the fight. But it wasn't many. It was 2 or 3 who switched up after the fight. And someone else who wasn't even there, he'd be clapping in his office, and this would be Hiruzen. He'd say, good job, Naruto boy. Because he saw, since he uses the crystal ball, he saw from an outside point of view that Naruto is sort of doing what his father is doing. He sees him freeze time, and it's different from the Flying Raijin where he just teleports instantaneously. But it's sort of similar because he's distorting and freezing time and causing it to have a blank space for him to use it. And in them 10 seconds, he's basically strong enough to, just put down a whole grown man. But in that last hit he used against Sasuke, Sasuke using his Sharingan, his newly evolved Sharingan, dodged his first. I didn't say this because, kind of forgot to state it. Like I said, I didn't quote, I didn't script this. But, I had this fight planned out in my head, but I kind of skipped the part. See, what originally happened during the fight was when Naruto threw the punch, like the first punch, because he threw two. When he threw the first punch, he was aiming for his face. He was going to hit him in the jaw, knock him out. Like I said, he got into more of a boxer-like stance. And Sasuke leaned to the side, not fully like leaned his body because he still kind of froze time, just not really. So Sasuke leaned his head to the side and he was going to hit Naruto in the chest with the kunai, giving him a cut across the chest, But then that's when Naruto stepped back, which caused Sasuke to miss his swipe. And that's when he froze time and just hit him in the chest, caved it in. And that was the end of it. So Naruto took Sasuke to the infirmary where he was healed up, He was completely fine. There was nothing wrong with him. Like I said, he wasn't aiming to kill him. And after this, the Uchihas would congratulate both Naruto and Sasuke. And they both passed because before that, obviously Naruto has the shadow clones. He I wouldn't say he fully mastered the Hiraishin yet. Yes, all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and say this now. Throughout this whole series, I may say Hiraishin, Flying Raishin, the Flying Thunder God. Like, I am one of those. Like, I'm gonna say one of those, but it's meaning the same. I'm right next to my grandmother's car who's driving off. Sorry about that. I came outside, to avoid all the noise inside the house. Yeah. But yeah, I ain't gonna stop it right. I'm not gonna stop it. Not quite yet. I might make this go past an hour. I wouldn't say too far into an hour. But knowing me, I might go into an hour, 30 minutes, and then be like, might as well make this 2 hours. So never know how long this is gonna be. I was originally gonna stop it at 30 minutes. But then I was like, nah, there wouldn't be any purpose to that. So might as well go to an hour. So yeah, let me quit procrastinating and keep going. Yeah. So, after this, they both received their title as Genin. And Iruka was like, Naruto, return to the school tomorrow to get your team selections, right? And so he did. And this time, Sasuke would come sit in the back next to him because there was four chairs inside the enemy. I'm pretty sure there was four. It was one because it was Naruto, Sasuke by the window. Then it was Sakura in the middle taking up 2 seats. And then it was Naruto because Sakura didn't want anybody sitting next to Sasuke. So Sakura was taking up 2 seats, if I remember correctly. I may be false, but I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I'm gonna say it's 4 seats. So Sasuke joined Choji and Shikamaru and Naruto in the back, and they was all chatting it up, having a good time. And then all of a sudden, Iruka would come in and he'd be like, "All right, here's the team selections." He'd say, he'd say all the other teams, and then he'd get to Team 7. He'd say Naruto. No, he'd say Sasuke. He'd say this year's rookie prodigy. Like the most he'd say he'd say the rookie prodigy of this year, the new gen prodigy. No, he'd say, I can't think of how to say this, but basically he'd say the rookie prodigy of this year's selection, and he'd say Naruto is the first person on Team 7. And he'd say the Academy's rookie prodigy of this year, Sasuke Uchiha. And then he'd say, and yes, I know I'm breaking up the squad. Shikacho. I know, I'm sorry. It's gotta go this way because Ino is joining them on this team. And they'd say, I wouldn't say the number one Kunoichi, but she was better than most up in the class. I'm pretty if not, I know Sakura had better grades, but I'm pretty sure Ino had better overall stats. Like, come on now. And I know they put Sakura in there to be a healer, but Ino was also a healer, and she's also a fighter. So it goes well to match out this power. I wouldn't say power hungry, but this more fighting type squad. And in this one, Kiba saved Hinata because like I can't it's obvious who the ship is gonna be for this. No, like it was kind of obvious, and I'm like I may not mess with my boy Kiba that much, but like he been put in the back for a while too long, so might as well, I guess. And I honestly cannot tell you who was this man's wife up there. Like I honestly cannot tell you. Like I don't remember. I like I'm being like so serious. I cannot remember. So yeah, it's gonna be Hinata. So yeah, those are two ships that are confirmed in the show. I said in the show. I mean in this what if. Two ships are already confirmed. Like I sort of mess with the Kiba and Hinata ship. I mean it's alright. I have nothing against it, but like it's sort of alright. Like I guess because but the only thing is like I kind of think that this would be an OP mix, sort of. Like it's weirdly OP. Like the Inazukas, like how they have the dogs and their other stuff with Plus, given that a Byakugan, OP. Not really, but it'd be great at sensory. It'd be very hard to sneak up on this character. And they'd have more than just Fang over Fang with other stuff into their like other Inazuka specials inside their whatchamacallit. Man beast transformation. Like it'd have more than just that stuff. It also have 8 trigrams. It may get 64 pounds. It depends on how hard they train. Hey! Don't come over here with that. Like I didn't I just tell y'all not come on, man. Hold up, my dog's acting up. Sorry about that. Like legit, they came over here wrestling. Hey, what I just told you. Man, leave that dog alone. He ain't bothering you. Leave him alone. Yeah, go over there. Thank you. Sorry about that. Man, don't come. Man, hold up. Man. These dogs gonna be the death of me. But not at this moment, because I am continuing. So, anyways, like I was saying. Oh, no. Not like I was saying, because, we got to move on. So, to continue the story, after that, everybody senseis would have came in, most within a couple minutes, others within an hour or so. But then there was Team 7, who was just sitting there. And they would have been waiting for about 3 hours, 3 or 4 hours. And then Naruto would be like, alright, I didn't want to have to do this, but reverse summoning jutsu. And he'd bite his thumb after throwing a couple hand signs. And he'd slam his hand on the ground. And the dog got hurt. Give me a second. Sorry about that. My dogs got a little bit rowdy. Man, I told y'all, stop that. Anyways, just taking up my time, Dogs, you have to be a certain type of, I wouldn't say aggressive, because, I like the dogs, they chill most of the time. It's just now, like every time I go to record this, they start bothering me or start barking in the background. Like in the other part, I'm thinking it was in this one actually. They barked like they walked clean past me and just barked for no reason at all. But yeah, regardless of that, he reverse summoned Kakashi, who would fall onto a table, and he'd look around. He'd say, "Oh yeah, is this my team?" And Naruto would be like, "Where were you?" He'd say, "Oh, I was lost on the path of life." And Naruto would say, "Yeah, that lie doesn't work on me anymore." He'd say, "I was asleep." And Naruto would say, "Man, come on." He'd say, "Meet me on top of the roof." At this time, since it's actually Kakashi, he just body flicker up to the roof. And Naruto would grab onto Sasuke and Ino, and he'd say, "Hold your breath and try not to barf. Also, close your eyes." And they'd be like, "Why?" And as soon as they blinked, Naruto would just say, "Screw it." And he'd freeze time using time skip, and he'd body flicker to the roof, and then unfreeze time. And they would look, and they'd be like, "How did we get?" And they go to the side of the roof, and they throw up. Naruto would be like, "I told y'all to hold your breath and close your eyes." I mean, you did the closing your eyes part, you didn't hold your breath. They'd be like, "We wasn't ready." He'd be like, "I mean, I told y'all like 10 seconds before I did it. You had enough time." And Kakashi would be like, yeah. You guys seem to be well acquainted already, so, and I already know you, so you two, introduce yourselves. And they'd introduce themselves. Ino would be like, her name is Ino Yamanaka. Her likes Naruto. Well, she wouldn't say it outright, but she'd glance over at Naruto, who wouldn't be looking at all, being completely oblivious. She'd say, "My hates don't have much, just I dislike Sakura or Billboard Brow." You know, you know how they got. Yeah. And she'd say, crap, I honestly cannot remember how far this went, but she'd say, her strengths. I'm just gonna add stuff. She'd say her strengths are her mind transfer jutsu and sometimes sensory and some sort of stealth. They had some sorts of stealth in the tuning exams. I can't say that it wasn't much, but they had some sorts. Even though they almost got caught at times. Her, Choji and Shikamaru, it was kind of stealthy. I'll give them that. It was kind of hilarious, but they did good. I'll give them that. And she'd say some of her weaknesses are, she said some of her weaknesses in battle are, she'd glance over at Naruto, and she'd say also, like, straight taijutsu based fights, like if she can't get them in the mind transfer jutsu, she could possibly lose. And she'd say she's also sort of good with poisons. Not really, but she's sort of good with poisons. And Kakashi would say, "Okay, that's enough." And he'd say, "You, the emo." And Sasuke would say, "First off, I'm not emo. Secondly, I just like the way the hair looks. And third, my name is Sasuke Uchiha. My likes are hanging out with Naruto, training, and hanging out with Itachi. Sometimes you, whenever you come around, but you seem to act like I'm a stranger. But yeah, and my dislikes are when Naruto beats me, when my brother beats me, or when you treat me like I'm a complete stranger." And Kakashi would say, "What are you talking about?" And he'd say, "That right there, that is what I'm talking about." And he'd say, "My strengths are taijutsu, jutsu, and a bit of chakra control. My disabilities. My weaknesses are genjutsu, weapon usage, and let's see, what else would Sasuke's weaknesses be? Oh yeah, not having a complete 3 Tomoe in both eyes. Yeah, as of this moment, yeah." So Kakashi would say, "Okay, meet me at training field 7, and don't he was gonna say don't eat unless you were gonna barf, but then he'd be like, make sure you get a good enough meal, but just don't, yeah, get something that you could hold in your stomach to keep you fighting, but don't eat too much or you may barf. And then he'd just body flicker away, and Naruto would be like, well, I'm leaving, and he'd jump down. Like he'd look over the edge of the roof, and hold up, let me show you it. This is what he'd do. He'd look over the edge, and then he'd just kind of flip off of it and land at the bottom. Yeah, so this, and the other two, they'd be kind of confused on how he kind of floated to the ground. Like normally you'd fall from that far, and it caused like a loud, like a smoke screen. You might get a sprained ankle, something like that. Or you'd have to slide down the wall and then jump off, something like that, ninja stuff. But Naruto, he just kind of effortlessly flipped off with his hands in his pocket, landed softly, and just walked off. And Ino, seeing that he's leaving, would rush out of the school as fast as she could and would catch him right before he left out of the gate. And Naruto, being nonchalant, like he just nonchalantly say, "That's a new record, Ino. Why are you in such a rush?" And she'd say, "Oh, shut up. So where are you trying to go today?" And Sasuke, feeling left out, he'd be like, "Man, I'm finna go ask Itachi, does he want to train?" And so he'd just walk out of the school, heading towards the Uchiha compound, while Naruto and Ino, they'd head to, they'd head to a barbecue place. Yeah, they head to a barbecue place and they'd eat, and then Naruto would walk Ino home, and they'd be laughing and talking on the way, and then when she make it home, she'd kiss Naruto on the cheek, who would be kind of confused, and he'd hold his cheek, but she'd run in the house after doing it, and she'd be blushing, and Naruto would be still kind of confused. But for some reason, he'd smile, and he'd start walking home. But then we'd look, like the camera would pan to the left, and we'd see Jiraiya writing another book, and he'd be smirking. He'd say, "Oh, now the story thickens. Oh yeah, and it's going in a great direction." And we'd see on the cover of this book, it'd say, "The Tale of Naruto Uzumaki, Namikaze." Yes. And Naruto would sense Jiraiya, but he couldn't figure out where he was. So he'd look around, and this would cause Jiraiya to poof away. Like not using clones, but like he reverse summon himself into the toad world. So wouldn't be any smoke, no none of that. And so Naruto, sensing that Jiraiya was gone, he'd just kind of go home, and then he'd see Jiraiya and Kakashi at the house, and they'd have a family dinner. They'd eat, and then Naruto would go to bed. And this time, instead of Naruto just leaving without like leaving and waiting for Kakashi, this man would drag Kakashi while he's still sleeping through the village. Hold up, my bad. Sorry about that. I had, I accidentally swiped on the screen. My fault. That was something that I accidentally did, and it caused something to happen. But it wasn't what showed up on the screen. The reason why I paused, like something happened to my phone, so I had to pause the video. I probably cut it out, so you probably didn't see it, but. And no, it had nothing to do with the photos. Like, it was something that showed up on my phone, so I had to pause. It probably got cut. But regardless of that, yeah. So, like I was saying, he would be dragging Kakashi by the back of his vest, because Kakashi got dressed and then laid right back down. So Naruto dragged him through the village, and then when he got to training ground 7. And he'd see Sasuke and Ino there, he'd throw Kakashi at a tree. But Kakashi, sensing, the tree coming his way, or him speeding towards the tree, he'd flip using his feet as cushions to push off the tree, and he'd land on his feet and he'd say, "Good morning," and it seems everyone is on time. And Naruto would say, "Yeah," and we wouldn't have been on time. We would have still been on time even when you would have showed up late. Now, wouldn't we? He'd say, "No, no, 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 no. I would have been on time. I promise. You believe me, right, Naruto?" But Naruto would just glare at him. And he'd say, "Right, right." So back to the yeah. So today we're gonna be doing the bell test, and since Naruto probably already knows what this is, you cannot say anything about the test until it is over. And Naruto would just nod. And he'd say, "You know what? Since you know how to sugarcoat stuff so well, you can't say a single word until this is over, unless it's towards me or to call out a jutsu." You know, I don't get why they do that, but Naruto, I'm gonna just say Naruto doesn't do it. I just say, like, normally people, you know, like it's crazy. Like, they actually call out what jutsu they gonna use right before they use it. Like Zabuza, Water Dragon Jutsu, Kakashi said the same thing. Like it was kind of crazy. No, like people just say their attacks while they're doing it. I don't get it. Like people don't go, "I'm finna hit you with a left punch," you know. But I get it. It's anime, you know. It's fire, you know. It's you know. But back to the story. So Naruto would nod again. And he'd look at Kakashi, and Kakashi would explain the bell test, and the other two, since you know, they was like, they obviously can't take on a Jonin by themselves, but there's only two bells, and them knowing how strong Naruto is, they was like, "Do we have to fight amongst each other? But that'd be chaotic." And so as soon as as soon as Kakashi would say begin, those two would jump into the bushes while Naruto would just stand there. And then he'd dash at Kakashi, and Kakashi would say, "Oh, a forward frontal attack, huh? Knowing you, I have to use my Sharingan." And Sasuke, who already knows that Kakashi has a Sharingan, wouldn't be confused. And Ino, who saw it at the Naruto and Sasuke's fight, also wouldn't be confused. Like, she'd be confused on how he got it, since he doesn't seem to be an Uchiha. But like, since the other Uchiha didn't, question him, she wouldn't question it either. So but seeing that a Jonin has to use his Sharingan against Naruto would be kind of confusing to the two. But not so much to Sasuke, because he'd be like, if he has to use his Sharingan against Naruto, then he most definitely would have to use it against me. But then they'd see Naruto only fighting using, and they'd be wondering why, until they see Naruto using hand signs behind his back. But these wouldn't be normal hand signs. They'd be codes, like they'd be some type of sign language, if you wish, right? And so them interpreting what he was saying, they basically put together that they had to sort of work together to do the test. And Kakashi, who isn't noticing because he's too busy trying to block all of Naruto's kicks, who's not holding back at all. Like, Naruto is kicking and as fast and hard as he can to keep to keep Kakashi from reading, like what he's doing behind his back. But then all of a sudden, since Kakashi saw his arms behind his back, Kakashi jumped away. And then that's when Naruto was forced to use a jutsu, or Kakashi would have saw it. Like, he would have figured out what was going on. So Naruto would use a jutsu. But this would be a strange jutsu, because Naruto would use a fireball. And this would catch Kakashi off guard. He'd be like, wait, he has fire? He has a fire element as well? And then right after, Naruto would jump in the air, and he'd use our earth bullet. Like, he'd use earth bullets, but it wouldn't be a normal earth bullet. He'd have these like pebbles in his hands that he picked up off the ground. After he jumped, he'd pick up pebbles off the ground. So he'd be in the air, and they'd start floating because he's using wind to help them float. And he'd say, he wouldn't say, well, obviously he'd have to say it out loud, Well, he doesn't have to, but
Because when he used the fireball, he didn't say it out. So, it caught Kakashi off guard. But this would catch Kakashi even more off guard because he was like, wait, did he say earth and wind bullet? And he'd see earth bullet, like he'd see these earth pebbles inside of wind bullets that was coming his way. And so he'd say a normal earth wall or mud wall wouldn't be able to stop this. So he'd say 4-layered earth wall jutsu, and it put up 4 giant earth walls, but they wouldn't be too big. They'd be like the size of a tree. And the I'd say he had about 20 pebbles in his hand, so made 20 wind bullets, and it's for every 5 earth bullets, earth wind bullets, it took down the barrier. So, after all 20, there was no more earth walls. And then he'd see Sasuke come out shooting a fire dragon jutsu at him, a flame dragon jutsu at him. Sorry. And right when he was gonna try to dodge, he'd see Ino come out who'd use mind transfer to keep him from moving. But Kakashi, obviously having a stronger mental, like being mentally stronger than Ino, would overpower her mental attack. But this would have been enough for the flame dragon to get close enough to Kakashi, and Kakashi would look at it and he'd say shit. He'd be like, wait, I can substitute. But right as soon as he was about to use a substitution, Naruto came out of nowhere and hit him with a haymaker, dead in the face. And he'd go flying into the flame dragon, which would explode when it made contact with Kakashi. But now, you may be wondering, wouldn't he just substitute after the punch, or before the punch, or once the punch made contact? No, because Naruto froze time with using time skip, and he punched him. And so once he punched him, he undid it. And then right when the flame dragon was about to hit Kakashi and he was about to substitute, he appeared in front of him and he moved his hands apart from each other to keep him from substituting, and then So basically, he's using his time skip ability in a tactical and smart way, And this would cause Kakashi to get a little bit burned. But knowing Kakashi, he probably has a water jutsu that covers his body to keep him from getting, too damaged by flame jutsus. So he'd use something like that, and the water would hit the ground because, they were by a lake when, So yeah, the water would drop to the ground, and then it'd come up as spikes at Naruto, Sasuke, and Ino. But Naruto, using time skip, would appear and at each one, and he'd break them to keep them from hitting his teammates. And obviously he had dodged his to get to, so he broke those, and then he hit Kakashi in the stomach. But right when his fist was gonna hit him, Kakashi stopped using his basic 3 Tomoe because he only has 1 Sharingan, so it's obviously about the same as Sasuke using both his 2 Tomoe and 3 Tomoe at the same time. But Kakashi is more advanced with it, so he was able to see it. It's just that being able to see it couldn't really help you because the base Sharingan doesn't give you more strength technically, but it does make everything slower to you. And so using something that messes with time against something that slows down time to the user, sort of, they kind of work the same but differently. So, he's obviously able to see it, but he still had to worry about being frozen. And so to this, he'd use his Mangekyo Sharingan, and he'd use his Kamui ability. And when he uses Kamui, he'd use it on Naruto's fist. And I ain't saying that he's trying to, when Naruto went to go hit him, he started to use it on his fist, which would cause Naruto to jump away because he's seen that every time Kakashi uses Kamui, the things just vanish. And so if he would have used it on Naruto's fist, his fist would have gone. And since I'm pretty sure Kakashi has only went to the Kamui dimension but freely, was up in Shippuden, so I'm pretty sure he doesn't know how to do that yet. So yeah, that's a thing. So they wouldn't be able to go get his hand back. So yeah, when Naruto jumped away and undid the time skip, Kakashi would go back to using his base 3 Tomoe, only to receive a kick to the head by Sasuke, but he substitute. And right as he substitute, he'd see another Sasuke above the tree that he substituted into. And this Sasuke would hit the tree, not Kakashi. He'd hit the tree with a fireball, which caused the tree to catch on fire. And right when Kakashi was going to substitute again, that's when, even faster this time, Naruto would have used time skip. And before Kakashi could switch back to the Mangekyo, he'd hit him 3 times, once in the stomach, once in the chest, and hit him with an uppercut to keep him from looking at his hand. Because after he hit him the second time, the Mangekyo had activated, and he was about to use Kamui again, but, he punched his head up, causing him to use Kamui on the flaming leaves. So, no forest fire, So the flames are gone. And right then, came down and kicked him in the face, kicking him out of the tree. And Naruto would grab the bells while he was falling. And they would win, because not only did they use teamwork, but they also got the bells, which was pretty impressive to Kakashi, who would deactivate his Sharingan. I'm saying that the Uchihas taught him, like, they did something to his nerves in his eye. So, like, he doesn't have to cover his eye. That's all I'm saying. Like, he doesn't have to, and normally he doesn't. It's just like whenever his eye like starts to get tired while he's using it, or like he's faking, like, say he's on a mission and he's faking like he doesn't have a Sharingan, or like, because people normally notice Kakashi by either the scar on his face or his hair, right? So when he's on a mission, he covers up his hair, and he also covers up his eye to keep the scar from being seen. So yeah. And I'd say the Uchihas healed his thing in his eye that allowed him to be able to activate and deactivate his Sharingan at will. So yeah, that's a thing too. Yeah. So like I said, he deactivates his Sharingan all the way, like, and during this time, Itachi, Shisui, and Jiraiya, who had been watching, they'd be kind of proud. But also, I'd say that Ino's dad would have been watching too, because he heard how strict Kakashi is, and he would have probably yelled at Kakashi if his daughter had failed, even though yeah. But they'd all go out and they'd all go out and have drinks, because technically their kids had been technically not their kids, but they all just went to go get drinks because somebody in their family passed and are officially ninja now. Let's say that. And I ain't gonna end it here. All right, so I'm gonna end it right. Nah, I ain't gonna. Well, I'm gonna end it right before right after they meet Tazna. That's why I'm gonna end it. So yeah, it might be an hour and 30, but I doubt. So basically, nah, I'm gonna end it after the Demon Brothers. Yeah, I'll go that far. Yeah, I'll go about that far. So they would. Who's pulling up at the house? Oh, that's my dad. So they would go and they do, I'd say about 100. No, I'd say they did 50 D rank missions, and then they'd all be like, okay, we're done with this. No, like Naruto and Sasuke, they wouldn't really complain, but like they both, like, they'd be like, nah, I'm tired of these. So they go to Kakashi and they'd be like, yeah, we're done with these D rank missions. They're way too easy, and we need something to keep us from going dull. Like, obviously they still train, but like, so, and Kakashi understanding what they mean, because they have done, I would say they did more D ranks than the normal, so, and they did more D ranks than all of the other teams have, because I'd say about the other ones, they did about 20 to 25. So they did about 50, like taking on low-class bandits around the village, like who was trying to infiltrate the village, stuff like that. Or, going to find cats, dogs, the normal stuff they did, and, so, picking weeds, like stuff like that. And so after this, they'd go to Hiruzen, And Hiruzen, once he'd see Naruto, he'd be like, "I already have you a mission ready, and it's a C rank mission." And he'd say that, you know, they'll have to protect the bridge builder. Now, man, at the rate this is going, I might just, I ain't gonna do the whole fight, but you know, I know I'm gonna end it. I know I'm gonna end this. So basically, after this, this man, this man would walk in, and this is what Naruto is wearing. He's wearing this, you know, like he doesn't have the swords, but like this is the fit he's wearing. So Naruto would be standing in that, and what do you want? Hold up, give me a second. Sorry about that, my cousin. He was doing stupid junk for no reason. Like this man literally came out here, started screaming for no reason, and then went back in the house. So yeah, like I was saying. So Tazno would walk in and he'd see Naruto wearing this outfit, like I said, minus the swords, and you know, like he'd have on the mask, but like it'd be down, so it'd be still around his neck, like it wouldn't be covering his face yet. And he also wouldn't have on his hood. And he'd walk in and he'd just feel this pressure off of Naruto, and he wouldn't say a singular thing about his, like, the team of Naruto at all. And so he'd be like, "Yeah, I'll take it. They seem like they seem like they qualify. They have a Uchiha. They have whatever this kid is." And as soon as he was about to say something bad about, like, he'd say, "And this little and he'd stop because he'd feel the pressure coming off Naruto again. And he'd say, "And this cute little girl here." And would say, "Actually, I am very sexy for my age." And Naruto would kind of bonk her on the head and say, "Be respectful. He's still our elder." Like, as in, by elder, I mean like someone older than him. And she'd say, "Ow, ow, okay." Sorry about that. My dog was literally clawing at the car behind me. Well, truck, should I say. But, like, I'm pretty sure y'all can hear the leaves, and I apologize for that. I might add background music to this to keep all the, the background noise out. But, that might not happen. But, yeah. Sorry about that. Anyway, so, after this, the boy, they would pack and then they'd leave. And obviously, they'd run into the two demon brothers, right? The demon brothers of the mist. And when Naruto would be in the very back because Kakashi would be in front, Sasuke and Ino would be around the bridge builder, and Naruto would be in the far back. Everyone would walk past, and then all of a sudden Naruto just felt this presence. And so Naruto would spark his two fingers, his index and his pointer finger. I said his index. I meant his thumb and his pointer finger, or index finger, whatever you want to call it, right? He zapped the fake water. Well, what he sees as a puddle, because him, Kakashi, probably Sasuke should. But in the bridge builder, when understand why he zapped the water, and Naruto would say, "It hasn't rained in this place at all." And yes, I wouldn't say this is technically a jutsu. I just say that, how lightning comes off of the Z fighters and stuff, mostly the Saiyans when they transform, and sometimes other fighters when they get up in Dragon Ball, when they So I'm saying that he used his ki and he changed the property of it using chakra, which is how he started being able to use other, So I'd say he changed the property to lightning, and this is how he unlocks lightning. Like he unlocks, the ability to use lightning jutsu now. So at this point, Naruto can use all four elements and a few of the sub elements. So like I said, he'd spark at the water, but like I said, it wouldn't do anything to the water because the two bridge builders, the two the two demon brothers would dash out of the water, And they'd wrap up Kakashi and do the same thing as in canon. They'd tear him in half, or so it seemed. And Sasuke, he'd get on guard instantly. He'd be like, and would instantly know what he mean because he'd nod his head to the left. And so she'd pull out a kunai, and she'd start looking around, right? And she'd be reverse gripping the kunai. It probably wasn't, needed to be stated, but I said it anyway. She'd be reverse gripping the kunai, right? And excuse me, I had to burp. I probably should have. I probably will cut that part out. Like, there's a lot of stuff that might get cut out of here, unless I forget, because it's kind of dark out now. Don't know what time or what it looked like around your time zone, but it's probably dark since most of my people who watch my videos are from the U.S. Anyways, like I swear to you, I've gone off track like 10 to 11 times in this video. But regardless, after that, they dash at the bridge builder. Obviously, finna have to go through Kakashi. The two demon brothers would make the chain, like they retract the chain, pulling it apart from each other, And they dash, one of them heading at Sasuke, the other one heading at Naruto. And Naruto, he'd make quick work of the one that ran at him by, like, he'd literally just look at him. And then, like, for a split second, right when the claws was finna hit Naruto, it just seemingly go through him. And then Naruto would punch him so hard in the mouth that he'd fall unconscious. And Sasuke, he'd just kick the guy in the stomach and then he'd axe kick his head into the ground while he's bent over holding his stomach. Why did it sound like I was losing my breath like that? He'd bend over holding his stomach. And so Sasuke would axe kick his head into the ground, knocking him unconscious. And Kakashi would come out clapping his hands. He'd be like, good guy. I said good guys. Good job, you two. And Naruto would be like, of course you aren't dead. He'd say, why? You make it sound like you wanted me dead. And Naruto would be like, nah. Couldn't ask for my brother to die. But, probably could have saved us a bit of, trouble. And Kakashi said, nah, you need the experience. And so, like in canon, Kakashi ties them to a tree and forces them to explain what's going on. And then he'd say, okay, this mission has been bumped up to a B rank. But then, obviously, Kakashi would say, that shouldn't be a problem. My team's pretty strong. So they keep walking. And then the mist would roll in. And then Naruto would be like, mist released, huh? So he'd put his hand in the air and he'd say, wind tornado jutsu. Like he'd say exactly that. And it'd make a tornado in the air and it'd be like a vacuum. It'd pull out some of it, like most of it. It'd make the the fog more see-through. And he'd vacuum all that smoke, all that fog into where he senses danger, which would be a blade that he'd counter with the attack. And all the fog would push the sword, would push Zabuza's sword. But then all of a sudden, the sword would start cutting through it. And so Naruto would say, everyone, duck. And they'd all duck under it. And Kakashi would have to push down Zabuza. I said Zabuza, damn. He'd have to push down the bridge builder, Tazuna, to keep his head from getting cut off. And the sword would get lodged into a tree. And then a person would appear on it behind Naruto. And Naruto would say, so, you're the infamous demon of the hidden mist. And he'd say, who are you, Gaki? AKA brat, whatever, right? And he'd say, the person who's gonna kick your ass. And, Zabuza would start laughing. He'd say, I like the spunk, kid, but I didn't come here for you. I came for the bridge builder. But if you do get in my way, I'll have to kill you. And trust me, I have nothing against it. Or you. And so, Kakashi would say, Naruto, let me handle this. And he'd activate his 3 Tomoe, obviously not thinking he'd need it. His Mangekyo, since he's been going up against Naruto for a while, he's pretty sure that he can outspeed Zabuza, which for the most of the fight he would. But then Zabuza, without Kakashi seeing, would have made a clone, and the clone would have put Kakashi in a full Nelson, and then it would have turned into a water the water thing. I forgot the water prison jutsu, and Zabuza would have hurried up and stuck his hand in it to keep Kakashi in it. And Kakashi, who didn't properly get breath, wouldn't be able to switch his Sharingans to the EMS into the, well, I'm pretty sure he unlocked the EMS. I'm pretty sure that was it. But yeah, he wouldn't be able to change it into the Mangekyo because, yeah. So he'd be trying to, he'd be trying to conserve the wind that he has in his lungs already by letting out tiny bits of it. And sort of, like, he's trying to figure out which jutsu would help him in this situation. But by then, he'd noticed Naruto vanish. Because like I said, at this point in time, Naruto can hold time skip for about 10 seconds. So Naruto would vanish, and then Zabuza would see Naruto right in front of him. And he'd block a punch from Naruto, but he'd feel the weight behind it. So he'd kick Naruto away. But the kick would go clean through him. And Naruto would aim a punch at Zabuza's chest, but for some reason Zabuza could sense it because, this man is like a wild beast. He can sense. So he'd flip over, now being on the other side of Kakashi, with his arm still in the water, prison jutsu. And he would have made clones, water clones, which would dash at Naruto, but Sasuke would come in with a fireball, leaving Ino to stay on the bridge builder. So he'd shoot out Phoenix Flower Jutsu, which would hit each of the clones, destroying them, causing a steam thing. But, that wouldn't bother Zabuza, who's adapt to seeing through, fog. So when Naruto rushed through it, he'd think, all right, this cake work. He'd throw a kick at Naruto, who would duck under it, pulling the same move that Kakashi did on Pain. And instead of making an earth wall like Kakashi did, he'd say Earth Spike Jutsu, which would scare Zabuza to jumping away and letting go of the thing. But once he'd jump away, he'd realize ain't those spikes came out. But then all of a sudden, he'd hear lightning spike crackle, as he'd see both Naruto and Kakashi holding a Chidori, and they both would jump at him. Well, Naruto's technically not a Chidori, it's just a lightning ball that he has covering his hand. So this is more of a lightning blade. Yeah, more like the lightning blade. So Naruto would jump at him and he'd say lightning blade, and Kakashi would say Chidori. And then once they was about to hit Zabuza, all of a sudden Senbon would hit him in the neck and he'd fall over, causing them to miss. And they'd hit each other's hands and they'd clash and it caused a mini explosion. But they both would have jumped out of the way, as the masked men would have hurried up and grabbed Zabuza and said the same as Kennen, and then vanished, jumping into the trees and getting away. But Naruto and Kakashi, noticing how panicked the nin seemed, they'd be like, that isn't a tracker nin. And they'd look at each other and nod, and they'd be like, okay, you two, we need to get you two trained. Well, Kakashi would be like, we need to get you two trained. Naruto, you can go do whatever you need to do to improve on whatever you're doing to keep rapidly doing what you're doing. And Naruto would say, so basically you want me to improve my time skill? And he'd say, do that. He'd say, okay, but it won't improve by much. And he'd think into his head, and he'd get a response. He'd say, I'd be able to hold it for 20 to 25 seconds if I can stretch it at most. And Kakashi would be like, do you think that's enough to win against the tracker nin? And Naruto said, well, with the speed he was going, probably. But if I work twice as hard by, being asleep, because, like I said, it turned 8 hours into 16 hours. So, like, if he trained outside, he'd be only able to do it for 20 to 25 seconds. But like I said, double the training means double the time boost. So he'd be able to use it for about 50 seconds. 50, because 25 was the max back then. So 45 to 50 seconds. And Kakashi would say, then, do you think that'd be enough time for you to win? And Naruto would say, most definitely. And he'd say, then my only goal after would be able to get this to a minute. Because if I can get this to a minute, then it'd be a nightmarish hell for most people I face. He'd say, well, besides the Uchiha, but the only Uchiha who has an ability to counter my ability that I know of so far is Shisui, Itachi, and maybe Fugaku. But other than that, there aren't many who can challenge me, when it comes down to time skip. But in hand-to-hand combat, that's something I also need to improve upon. So, I may have to go get training on that. He'd say, go get training. And Naruto would say, but every time I say go get training, I mean fall asleep. And Kakashi would say, fair. Okay. Go do as you need, because we'll need that power in our next bout with Zabuza and his tracker Nen, or his false tracker Nen. And this is where I'm gonna end it. And I hope you enjoyed. I kind of enjoyed making this. Like it isn't bad. And like I said, this is unscripted. So the other parts I might as well do unscripted, but. Like for vocal videos, like I used to unscript videos and I didn't like them, my vocals, but I might start scripting making scripts for these, but then I'd probably get too lazy to read it, and that'd be a long time. So I'd probably go ahead and start working on stuff, because I usually go off the top of my head and I do better that way. And so yeah, I'm gonna do that when it comes down to that. Because text and stories, I could type out what I need to and then make adjustments wherever I need to. And if I have to, I just scrap the video and then restart. And it doesn't take me that long because I already have what I need. But when it comes down to vocals, I have to delete stuff or delete the video and be like, screw it. I have to start all the way over. Like I said, this is my 6th time making it because I did not feel like making enough. Did you just come near me and piss? Man, these dogs. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I may cut that part out, but it's the intro. I say intro. This the outro. So yeah, but before I give out and say goodbye, hey, that boy, Zoe, he better answer in my challenge. He the one who brought it up, so he might as well go ahead and drop his part next. Not on my channel. It's gonna drop on his channel, so go check it out. I'm gonna let him know to go ahead and drop his part after I drop this. And Kuroko Isagi should drop tonight as well. So yeah, be looking out for that. So with that being said, goodbye.